Happy holidays, everybody, and Tony here with my review of Humperdinck's Hänsel und Gretel with conductor Friedrich Pretorius, which I saw at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. This marks the second time I saw Andreas Homolki's production of Humperdinck's Hänsel und Gretel at the Deutsche Oper Berlin because I wanted to see, hear, and witness Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero perform the roles of Hänsel and Gretel respectively, going into their collaborative singing together. I thought that Karis Tucker's velvety, creamy, and smooth lyric mezzo voice was a wonderful complement to Meechot Marrero's silvery, sweet-toned, and sparkling lyric coloratura / light lyric soprano voice. Their voices blended so heavenly that I totally bought their yin and yang combination, with Karis Tucker's smoothness, velvet timbre, and creamy tone working extremely well off of Meechot Marrero's high-singing, silvery, and sweet-sounding lyric coloratura soprano voice. Furthermore, their gorgeous vocal prowess made their chemistry as brother and sister worth rooting for. So hats off to Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero for their gorgeous and exceptional collaborative effort as the brother and sister duo Hänsel and Gretel. Now, as they were as soloists, I thought that Karis Tucker continued to be as consistent as a singer as she's always been. I have enjoyed her performances, especially when it came to a lot of the supporting roles and the occasional main roles. Here, as Hänsel, I thought she was able to use that gorgeous and velvety tone to make the role of Hänsel her own, as well as imbue him with a lot of charisma, spunk, and a whole lot of vivacity. While I do love the fact that she's able to coordinate head voice and chest voice, there were times that some of the lower notes, let alone her chest tones, sounded slightly hollow, although she could manage to cope with those chest tones here and there. It says something when lyric sopranos, let alone various sopranos singing Hänsel, such as Berta Curina, Wanda Axel Clemens, Elisabeth Grömer, Christa Maria Ziese, Anna Moffo, and Eva Maria Bundschuh had way more coordinated chest tones and rounder chest tones that made their portrayals of Hänsel work so well. And I dare not forget about Sena Jurinats, who also sang the role of Hänsel in the 1950s before saying farewell to the operatic stage with her portrayal of the gingerbread witch in the film version of Hänsel und Gretel, starring Brigitte Fassbender and Edita Gruberova as Hänsel and Gretel respectively. And if we're talking about high mezzos who had great coordinated chest tones who also mastered the role of Hänsel, look no further than the likes of Agnes Balza and Frederica von Stade, although I will kind of argue that Frederica von Stade's voice was a lot more soprano-ish, even though she had wonderfully coordinated chest tones and a sterling technique, and Agnes Balza was kind of on the verge of a Falcon singer. Nevertheless, when it came to singers such as Elisabeth Grömer, Sena Jurinats, Anna Moffo, Agnes Balza, and Frederica von Stade, all of those singers had great coordinated chest tones and strong chest tones to make Hänsel a thoroughly believable character, as well as emit some excellent singing. So as a mezzo-soprano, I would highly recommend Agnes Balza and Frederica von Stade to Karis Tucker as inspirations for her to continue to develop her chest tones and therefore thoroughly commit herself and thrive in singing in a lot more chest tones, and even ensure that her chest tones are strong and round and rich, because that is what any and every true soprano or mezzo singing Hänsel needs in order to make this role come to life. In fact, I would even love to see Karis Tucker perform in a lot more of the lyric Zwischenfach roles, such as Donna Elvira from Don Giovanni, Dorabella from Così fan tutte, Giovanna Seymour from Anna Bolena, and some slightly more dramatic roles such as Valentine from Les Huguenots and Charlotte from Werther. And I dare not forget about the Rossini heroines such as Isabella from L'Italiana in Algeri, Angelina from La Cenerentola, and Rosina from Il Barbiere di Siviglia. I would definitely love to see and hear Karis Tucker's career flourish and grow and expand a lot more because she has amazing material to work with. And I sincerely hope that she continues to strengthen her chest tones, further strengthen her core, and therefore commit herself to real great singing. When all is said and done, Karis Tucker continues to do a laudable job as a singing actress and therefore embodied Hänsel with a lot of spunk and vivacity. There is no doubt that Meechot Marrero continues to grow, expand, and flourish as a singing actress. What I thoroughly loved about Meechot Marrero as Gretel is that her coordinated chest tones were a lot more fully realized, and she also makes a great case that even light lyric sopranos and lyric colorature sopranos need to have chest tones, and therefore coordinated chest tones at that. And she did the role of Gretel a whole lot of justice. She not only had the spunk, vivacity, and girlishness to make this role work, but she had the exceptionally phenomenal technical prowess to make Gretel an absolutely lovely and listenable character to witness. She is totally up there with some of my favorite interpreters of Gretel, such as Annelisa Rothenberger and Ileana Kotrubash, because of how well coordinated her voice is and how she was able to take advantage of such a silvery and sweet sounding lyric colorature soprano voice that made her characterization of Gretel so palpable from beginning to end. Therefore, I give my hat off to Meechot Marrero for such an outstanding performance as Gretel, and here's also hoping that she continues to go from strength to strength in every single role that she sings in. Artur Garbas was excellent as Peter the Broommaker, and his sturdy, strong, handsome, and virile lyric baritone voice was such a welcome treat to listen to. He has also grown from strength to strength, from doing a great deal of supporting roles to now having a go at a great chunk of leading man roles. This man is certainly on fire in the best possible way. His voice radiated with virility and a whole lot of richness and roundness that I had to salute him for his superb vocal and theatrical characterization of Peter the Broommaker. He was in tip-top great form and excellent shape that he was able to stand on his own as a wonderful performer. And here's also hoping that he continues to cover his notes exceedingly well as exercise wonderful technical prowess as a superb lyric baritone. Maria Motoligina was in her absolutely exceptional prime as Gertrude, the wife. She indubitably grew from strength to strength, and her coordinated chest tones were clear indicators of how much she has grown as a singer as well as an overall technically proficient performer. Her wonderfully sizable voice served the music of Gertrude so well that I was in total awe of everything Maria Motoligina produced, let alone created in her characterization of Gertrude. Sure, I might prefer a mezzo-soprano singing Gertrude such as Charlotte Berthold or Maria von Illosvai or even Grace Hoffman, but I thoroughly digress. Even though I do love their chest tones and I do love their rounder, richer voices, which are, in my opinion, a lot more suitable to Gertrude, but I also digress. Maria Motoligina was a technically proficient singer who managed to make her interpretation of Gertrude work so well that I was on cloud nine every time she opened her mouth to sing. Burkhard Ulrich stole the show as the gingerbread witch, or in German, die Knusperhexe. He was able to imbue this character with a lot of menace and was just reveling in making the gingerbread witch an absolute riot to witness from beginning to end. He was able to sing the gingerbread witch with such manic excitement that I was on cloud nine when he opened his mouth to sing and acted the part out so convincingly. And while I do prefer a mezzo singing the gingerbread witch, such as my personal favorite interpreters of the role, including Elisabeth Högen, Annie Schlemm when she was doing mezzo roles in the late 60s and early 70s. Ilse Schürhoff, although she was more of a contralto. Same goes for Res Fischer. And my number one favorite singer of the Gingerbread Witch of all time, Christa Ludwig, because of just how much of a complete package she was in that particular role. Nevertheless, I digress because Burkhard Ulrich continued to exercise wonderful theatricality as well as grand musicianship as the Gingerbread Witch, and also demonstrated how much fun he had with this role, specifically when he found a lot of nuances and a lot of interesting facets to play off of as this villainess. So I still have to give my hat off to Burkhard Ulrich for his rollickingly amazing interpretation as the Gingerbread Witch, and I also wish him all the best for his continuous interpretations of this role. Sua Jo was absolutely gorgeous as both the Sandman and the Dew Fairy. However, I did find her voice a tad bit too rich for those roles because I do prefer a slightly more soubrettish, brighter, lighter, and more silvery voice for both the Sandman and the Dew Fairy, albeit a more light lyric soprano voice for the Sandman, who can also border on light lyric coloratura, and a coloratura soubrette or light lyric coloratura soprano as the Dew Fairy. In my opinion, Sua Jo would be a much better fit for the role of Hänsel because of that rich, creamy, and absolutely gorgeous voice that can also produce such fine volume throughout the theater. And on top of that, I've always preferred it when a lyric, let alone a full lyric soprano, tackles the role of Hänsel. Nevertheless, I still have to commend Sua Jo for her exceptional artistry and for her great discipline as a singing actress who knew how to make her voice shine, radiate, and make it sound exciting throughout the theater. She knew how to make her voice thoroughly present, and there were also occasions where she was able to shade her voice using some lovely tones for both the Sandman and the Dew Fairy, and vocally speaking, she was absolutely exceptional as both the Sandman and the Dew Fairy. So overall, this singing was exceptional all the way through. I especially have to give a whole lot of props to both Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero for stealing the show, let alone leading the helm as Hänsel and Gretel respectively. Their voices were absolutely brilliant from beginning to end. They were able to demonstrate a whole bunch of charisma as performers and as singers, and they were able to thoroughly master their role with exceptional vivacity and a whole lot of dedication. There was no doubt that tonight was their night, and they were able to sell it thoroughly as Hänsel and Gretel, all thanks to their exceptionally great vocal prowess as well as phenomenal dedication as performers. Therefore, they shone like the brightest of stars and diamonds tonight, and I hope they will continue to shine as brightly as they were. Also great were Artur Garbas, Burkhard Ulrich, Maria Motoligina, and Sua Jo, who were able to do the roles of Peta, the Gingerbread Witch, Gertrude, and both the Sandman and the Dew Fairy a whole lot of justice with their exceptional vocal and theatrical talents. The conducting done by Friedrich Pretorius was absolutely nuanced, and I thought that he was a lot more at home at conducting Germanic operas, all thanks to how well his style and ease managed to radiate with the orchestra, and he was able to do so wonderfully with making the orchestra radiate as well as pay close attention to the text. And what more can I say about the chorus and the orchestra of the Deutsche Oper Berlin, especially where the children's chorus of the Deutsche Oper Berlin were concerned, as well as the extras. They were all in their A game, and they managed to do their very best to convey such wonderful performances as well as bolster the entire opera with their great talent, wonderful discipline, and phenomenal collaborative effort. So with Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero singing up a storm as the brother and sister duo of Hänsel and Gretel, they were able to shine so brilliantly and so beautifully that I was in total amazement and awe with everything they've accomplished thus far, and their chemistry as brother and sister, or more specifically, Hänsel and Gretel, was absolutely wonderful to witness. Their artistry was thoroughly brilliant. They exercised consistency as performers. And when it comes to how much their beautiful voices blended well, yes, I can say with confidence that Karis Tucker's creaminess and velvety tone matched superbly with Meechot Marrero's silvery, sweet, and absolutely scintillating lyric colorature soprano voice. Both of them were technically amazing as Hänsel and Gretel, and here's also hoping that they continue to go from strength to strength, both as performers as well as overly charismatic people. And for those of you who caught Humperdinck's Hänsel and Gretel at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, what'd you think of it? Did you feel that Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero were able to work very well off of each other as Hänsel and Gretel? Was there another singer who stole their thunder? Did you also feel that both Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero sang wonderfully tonight? Or did you feel like the singing was not really to your liking? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my review of Humperdinck's Hänsel and Gretel, starring Karis Tucker and Meechot Marrero as Hänsel and Gretel respectively at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. Tune in tomorrow for my review of Donizetti's Lucia di Lammermoor, also the Deutsche Oper Berlin, starring Long Long as Edgardo and Adela Zaharia as Lucia. So until then, happy holidays, everybody!